No sign of a convicted felon who walked away from the San Antonio State Hospital. He's been missing for more than 24 hours now, but he's not the first patient to wander away from that community from that psychiatric facility. Eyewitness News reporter Marvin Hurst has more on the disturbing disappearances and the rising number of visits the hospital gets from police.
The Texas Department of Health and Human Services says once they've alerted the authorities about a missing patient, they've done all they could do. San Antonio police say mental patient Christian Olivo Fabriel made what they described as an unauthorized departure from the hospital. They have not seen the convicted felon since. He's been in jail for drug charges, forgery, evading arrest, burglary, and an unauthorized use of a vehicle. DHHS won't confirm a name, but they would say that the person went over a fence to leave the facility Wednesday evening. They won't call it an escape just because this is a hospital and not a jail. They did say that the person is a forensic patient, meaning they are not mentally able to stand trial or too insane to be convicted. 3 years ago, another forensic mental patient got away from the San Antonio State Hospital. His name, Gary Lejeune. He was found not guilty by reason of insanity of murdering and dismembering his wife's body near Kerrville. He was committed to a state hospital for Rebecca Lejeune's killing. A state representative had to move the man for public safety because the accused murderer kept walking away from the hospital. A press officer for DHHS says they do a review after each incident of a missing person. San Antonio police are spending more time at the San Antonio State Hospital. Their calls for service to that hospital jumped past 1,300. Police responded for more assault calls than any other offense. Missing person calls total 10. 2 years, but some of the cases are wanted persons too. State officials say they are researching these numbers before they can make a comment. Right now, 29-year-old Olivo Fabriel remains missing. Marvin Hurst, KENS 5, Eyewitness News.